This video is on Fraxinus Americana, the white ash or American ash. It's in the Oleaceae family, the olive family. Fruit type is a samara, and Americana means of or from America. This is a dioecious species, so the male and female parts are on separate trees. The wood is used for cabinets, flooring, boating oars, baseball bats, and other sporting equipment. Beavers will eat the inner bark. This tree is often or sometimes planted in landscaping, not a super common landscaping tree, but you will see it planted on campus. And this species, just like our green ash, is impacted by the emerald ash borer. So that's an invasive pest that's killed many of our native ash trees. So this species is very similar to green ash. We're going to walk our way through the idea of this one. These two species can be kind of tricky, but we have a few tips to tell them apart. So we'll start with the leaves. So like our other ashes, this is going to be an opposite plant. So you can see in here, here's the two opposite leaves. And the leaves are going to be compound, pinnately compound. So they have a terminal leaflet. And then they're going to have 5 to 9 leaflets, but usually more like 7 or 9. So very similar to green ash. So I have on the right side here a cutting of green ash, and then our white ash cutting is on the left. You can see just how similar those leaves are at a glance. These two look almost identical when you look at them at first, but then when we look closer, we got a few ID tips to tell them apart. So we'll start with the leaflet. So the leaflet, like green ash, it's going to have a few subtle teeth along the margin. But look down here at the leaf stalk or the petiole of the leaflet. Look how long this petiole is. The stalk of the leaflet where it meets the rachis is nice and long. And the leaf tissue itself, the blade ends, does not extend down the petiole. The petiole is not winged. But if we look at green ash, so green ash, here's one leaflet of green ash. Look how short that petiole is in comparison. And you can see if we look really close, how the blade extends down towards the petiole base where it meets the rachis. So a nice short petiole that's often winged, so the blade extending down the petiole. You can see that there. So again, we'll look over here at the white ash. Look at that long, unwinged petiole on the leaflet. And then back at the green ash, a different leaf here. Look how short that petiole is, and you can see how that blade of the leaf extends down towards the rachis. So that's a really nice tip to tell the leaves apart. One more thing with the leaves, if I break off a leaf of white ash, you can see this C-shaped or U-shaped leaf scar where that leaf was. You can see how the bud indents that leaf scar and forms that nice U-shape. The scar is a U-shape around the bud. But if we break off a green ash leaf, look at that different shape. We've got kind of a rounded, almost circular or D-shaped leaf scar, and the bud just sits right on top of it, doesn't indent the leaf scar as much. So again, back to the white ash, really distinct indentation there, the leaf scar by the bud, forming that nice U shape. And then over here, more of a rounded leaf scar on the green ash. Another thing about the buds here while we're talking about leaf scars, this terminal bud of white ash often is distinctly four-angled, kind of like a Phillips head screwdriver. You can see kind of those angles along the four edges of the terminal bud. So often that big stout terminal bud looks like a Phillips head screwdriver. It's another good way to tell this species. The green ash buds tend to be smaller and not really as dramatically. Find a bud here. So they tend to be smaller, not as dramatically four-angled. Doesn't have that nice screwdriver shape of the white ash. So again, there's that big terminal bud of the white ash. Now, the easiest way to tell these two species apart is by the fruits. So we'll grab a couple fruits here and lay them out. So our green ash is going to be on the right and white ash is on the left. So let's look at the green ash, which we already know has that nice long seed, long and narrow seed, and then the wing of the seed extends up past the base. So here's where the seed ends, right here where my nail is, and then you can see how that wing of the Samara extends up towards the middle or top of the seed. So it's much different than our white ash here. So here's our white ash Samara. Look how much stouter that seed is, much wider and shorter. It's a nice stout seed, and then the wing itself is not as long and tapered, and it tends to end right there near the base of the seed. So it doesn't extend up past the base of the seed up towards the tip. So again, here's our green ash, a nice long, narrow seed with a wing that extends up along the seed itself. And then our stouter, shorter white ash seed on the Samara, and then the wing ends towards the base of that seed. So the Samara's definitely the easiest way to tell these two species apart. But again, those small tips on leaf morphology also good things to look for. So if we look at the bark here, so white ash is going to be very similar in pattern to our green ash. A lot of the time it's going to have these nice diamond furrows. So we got these kind of diamond shaped furrows in between these interlacing ridges. White ash bark tends to be paler in color from what I've observed. Green ash bark tends to be a little darker. And a lot of the time on white ash, these furrows, or these ridges rather, will be broken up into kind of cobbly blocks. We're not really seeing that on this one, but in the teaching slides, you'll see some pictures of these nice cobbled bark texture that white ash can have when it gets really old, and that's real distinctive of this species. But again, the Samara is the easiest way to tell them apart, to tell the two ashes apart by the Samaras. And then again, remember those long unwinged petioles of the leaflets of white ash and those C-shaped or U-shaped leaf scars, while green ash has those rounded leaf scars. Those are the ways to tell these two tough species apart.